Mr. Gravelos, President and CEO of the Education Foundation of Palm Beach County, and Charmaine Postal, President of Palm Beach County PTA.
Mr. Barbieri, I'm not sure if you got the message. Is the DDEC committee report allowed at this time? Because that's a standing committee, from my understanding. The District Diversity Equity Committee?
That's fine. Yes.
Thank you. Good evening, Board Chair, Superintendent, Board members, and everyone in their respective places. There was no DDC meeting in December. Our last meeting was on November 21st, 2019. The DDC met and approved the calendar for the rest of the FY 19-20 year. I will not bore you with the details of the meeting as the minutes are available to the public. Furthermore, the agendas are available at least 7 days prior to the meeting, which are held on the fourth Thursday of every month. Hint, hint. Tomorrow is January 23rd, 2020. It is the fourth Thursday in the month of January. The next meeting is open to the public. All of our meetings are open to the public. Looking forward to seeing new faces and returning faces as we work on the district equity policy. And I leave it with this. Carolyn Belden said it best. Equality is leaving the door open for anyone who has the means to approach it. Equity is ensuring there is a pathway to the door for those who need it. In case you missed that, simple terms, equality and equity are not the same. We are working in DDEC. That's all for DDEC. Thank you, Chairman. As far as Palm Beach County Council PTA, Mr. Manuel, thank you to you and your fellow students on all that you're doing throughout the county. Palm Beach County Council of PTSA is at work. We are preparing for our Florida PTA Legislative Conference this week. In addition, myself and members of the Palm Beach County Council PTA are scheduled to meet with 6 legislators. We are also scheduled to attend the conference. Founders Day, we invite you to attend February 8th from 10 to 2 p.m. You should have received the flyers at Lake Lido Park, 3645 Gun Club Road, West Palm Beach. That's February 8th from 10 to 2. What is Founders Day? For more than 100 years, National PTA Teacher Association, National PTA, has worked toward bettering the lives of every child in education, health, and safety. Founded in 1897 as the National Congress of Mothers by Alice McLennan Burney and Phoebe Apperson Hearst, National PTA is a powerful voice for all children, a relevant resource for families and communities, and a strong advocate for public education. Notice I didn't say we were a fundraising mommy's cookie at the school. Our founders represented women of imagination and courage. They had a simple idea: to improve the lives and future of all children. They understood the power of individual action, worked beyond the accepted barriers of their day, and took action to change the world for all children. On February 17, 1897, more than 2,000 people, mostly mothers, but also fathers, teachers, laborers, and legislators, attended the first convocation of the National Congress of Mothers in Washington, D.C. In 1908, the organization changed its name to the National Congress of Mothers and Parent-Teacher Association. I think that's where the cookie and bacon sales came from. In 1970, the National Congress of Parents and Teachers, National PTA, and National Congress of Colored Parents and Teachers, founded by Selena Sloan Butler in Atlanta, Georgia, merged to serve all children. Today, PTAs is a network of millions of families, students, teachers, administrators, and business and community leaders devoted to the educational success of children and the promotion of family engagement in schools. As the largest volunteer child advocacy organization in the nation, National PTA is the conscience of the country for children and youth issues. Through advocacy as well as family and community education, National PTA has established programs and called for legislation that improves our children's lives. That's why we're still around in our schools. I think I was too. Can I continue for 1 minute? Because I had two things.
Go ahead.
So the last community meeting, which is our general meeting and training, is April 27th at Safe Schools, covering the trainings will cover the topics of PTA, parent groups, nonprofits, IRS requirements, and thus forth. So everyone is welcome, whether you are a PTA, PT other, or other parent organization. Let's all get the information that we need to properly run parent groups within our schools. The end of the year volunteer award and celebration is May 15th at the Fountains in Lake Worth, also invited. And you should be receiving, if not, if you haven't already received the flyer for that. And last but not least, our Reflections Arts contests that have, our Reflections Arts contest, we have a couple of schools that moved to the state level competition for the 2019-20 year, which we will acknowledge them at the state level. Waters Edge Elementary, Del Prado, Addison Meisner, Sunset Palms, Panther Run, Whispering Pines, Crystal McAuliffe Middle, West Boca High, Boca Raton High, and Park Vista High. Congratulations to all of our schools that have advanced to the state level. Thank you for your time and have a great evening.
Thank you, Ms. Postle. Mr. Gavrilos.
Sir. Good evening, Superintendent Fenoy, members of the school board, and I'll take this time. Before I start, just an observation on Mr. Manuel. Like many of I listened to you month after month, and like many of you, I was honored to be a judge at Saturday's Ethics Bowl. And the level of sophistication of our students today, I don't forget finishing in the top 100. I don't think I'd be allowed into a high school today. We should be very proud and take pride in these incredible young people, their complexity of thought, their ability to articulate, and the poise that this young man shows month after month, sitting in front of a group of adults on television. You and your colleagues are to be commended, so job well done, sir. Go ahead, clap.
You know, we didn't tell him he was on TV, now you blew that.
Yeah,
so.
right. And after watching TV for the last 2 days clapping, I yield the balance of my time. No, sorry. Like many of you, I was in Tallahassee as well, and ironically, in 4 of my appointments with our legislators, I followed Dr. Fenoy. Tomorrow, Alex Price from Office Depot and I will be speaking to leadership Palm Beach County on the power of collaboration, and I'm following Dr. Fenoy. I think you should change his job description to Superintendent of Schools and Opening Act for the Education Foundation of Palm Beach County. One of those appointments was with Senator Gail Harrell. And when we spoke with Senator Harrell, she jumped in immediately and said, we need programs for young people with dyslexia, and I've got legislation pending, and we need to talk about dyslexia, and do you do anything? And I said, funny, you should mention that. Thanks to Meredith Trim and the Ventus Charitable Foundation, we are now funding a pilot program, Charging Forward with multisensory strategies through Meredith Trim and the Ventus Charitable Foundation. Well over $70,000 this year has been contributed to this school district effort. We are now serving 12 schools where the teachers are being trained in new strategies to teach reading, specifically to identify young people who may have that struggle with dyslexia. So we're way ahead of Senator Harrell on this one, and just continuing the fine work of the Education Foundation and these various programs. I mentioned my talk with Alex Price tomorrow. Ironically, as Office Depot's Alex and I are having this conversation with leadership, there is yet another truck on its way to Red Apple Supply. So I would bring to your attention, members of the school board, 2 events. Next Tuesday night, with our partner Comcast, we will be joining the school district to host the annual Principal of the Year ceremony at Manatee Lagoon, and we hope all of you will be present. And then on February 11th, we will have our 2nd annual We Love Teachers event. We are now serving 50 district schools at Red Apple Supply, so over 25% of our district schools are shopping at Red Apple. We won't be happy or satisfied until 100% of our schools are receiving all the school supplies they need free of charge. But again, on February 11th, we invite all of the school board to be present from 4:30 to 6:30, as all 50 schools, the principals and ambassadors, will be invited for a special bonus distribution. We welcome our new partners, and more importantly, we just love on our teachers, principals, and schools, and give them a little extra supply to push them into the new semester. We hope you'll join us that night to greet the teachers and principals, and bring your working shoes, because we're going to put you to work helping the teachers shop. We are continuing to do everything we can to make sure our principals, schools, teachers, and students have all the resources they need, whether it's on the program side, on the grant side, or certainly on Red Apple Supply. Ladies and gentlemen, we are your Education Foundation, serving the needs of the schools, teachers, and students in the finest school district in the state of Florida. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We have no agenda speakers. It'll take us to the consent agenda. We have 2 items been pulled, FM, PF1, and IG4. Do board members want to pull anything else? If not, we need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion by Mrs. Whitfield, seconded by Ms. Brill. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. That'll take us to the first item of new business, Mr. Superintendent, COM 10.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, COM 10, I recommend the board proclaim January 2020 as National Mentoring Month.
Motion by Dr. Robinson, seconded by Mrs. Whitfield. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. COM 11, Mr. Superintendent? We already did that one. FMPF 1.
Yes, sir, I recommend the board receive and accept the monthly purchasing and disbursement report as submitted.
Motion by Mrs. Whitfield, seconded by Ms. Brill. It was pulled by Dr. Robinson.
Thank you. So I just want to actually thank Mr. Burke. Where's Mr. Burke? Where's Mr. Burke?
He's on a plane to Tallahassee. He's presenting on our behalf tomorrow.
Well, thank Mr. Burke for me, for digging into the data issues that we have with this reporting, because I do want these reports to accurately reflect who we are sharing our wealth with, if you will. It's my request, though, that we also start looking at disaggregating the data for SBE, for district certified SBE. So we're increasing our percentages of SBE. Our MWBE appears to be holding stagnant or decreasing. Still not clear because the data's not good. But if we can start looking inside SBE for who is also MWBE, so we can capture that and report that, because I want the truth to be told. I'm convinced we're not doing as good as I want, but I still want the truth to be told. So I would love to be wrong when the numbers are good numbers and the story is told. So, but I appreciate the work that Mr. Burke is doing and Mr. Carr in addressing these issues.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. IG 4.
Yes, sir, I recommend the board receive and file the audit of the district's use of piggyback contracts report number 2019-16.
Motion by Ms. Brill, seconded by Mrs. Whitfield. Dr. Robinson?
Thank you. I actually, even though in my opinion there was bad news contained in this report, I am really thankful that it was done. I have been concerned for some time about our use of piggybacks, and so this sampling did show that there's room for improvement. I guess I'm going to skip a couple of the questions that I have, but in the area of non-compliance with the Office of Diversity of Business Practices not responding to purchasing's request for vendor information for 40% of sample contracts, that bothers me, because I interpret that as poor communications or relationships between offices. And I hope that we can remedy that in some form or fashion. We should not be non-responsive to each other, right? And then I just want to make the point that in the management response on this same issue, even though the management response didn't seem to address the problem, the finding, but nevertheless, it says that the Office of Diversity Business Practices requests a complete list of all piggyback contracts and their expiration dates. I think that is absolutely fantastic. And then when it says district piggyback contracts represent millions of dollars and currently none has diversity goals, therein lies the problem, right? And as part of that, though, because some of the response talked about these large contracts that we do, I want us to make sure that at every opportunity we're looking at all the race and gender neutral strategies, including debundling, because we can't just say it's a big contract. We need to intentionally look to see if we can and should debundle it. So I am pleased that the light has been shine on this issue. I think there's room for improvement, and I hope that we will put this back on the cycle for follow-up in the future and make sure that we've improved. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Okay. Next item on the agenda, Mr. Superintendent. I'm sorry, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-1. Now, Mr. Superintendent, P1.
P1, I recommend the board approve the personnel agenda as revised.
Motion by Dr. Robinson, second by Mrs. Whitfield. Discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. P2.
P2, I recommend the board approve the personnel addendum as submitted.
Motion by Dr. Robinson, second by Mrs. Whitfield. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. P3.
I recommend the board approve the personnel addendum number 2 as submitted.
Motion by Dr. Robinson, second by Ms. Brill. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0, which takes us now to non-agenda speakers. We have several. Would you please come up to the